good morning, good afternoon. I hope you're all doing well. We are back with the daily market analysis. If you can hear me okay, see me all right, put it into the chat and let me know. Market hasn't been moving too much over yesterday and not much today as well, but we'll still go through what we do or have been doing for the last many hundred videos, where I'll look at the news, not a lot to look at for today, plan out some trade ideas, possible trade setups, and then if you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. I have been streaming since the morning, second day that I'm doing this, streaming since the morning. So 10 o'clock, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 5 hours before this session, sharing trade ideas, looking at possible levels that we could look to get into. You can share your trade ideas, you can ask questions in the chat as well. So it's there for you guys. We'll do the 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock daily market analysis that we're doing here, and then after that we'll continue on with live trading, monitoring the markets on the live stream again together with you guys. Okay, so if you're new to the session, do remember to drop a message and say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. And for all the regulars, I see your messages. Thank you. Oh, thank you for that. Background noise, let me see. I was messing around with, is that better, Augusto? Sorry, I was messing around with the mic and all that just to try and figure something out with it. Hope that's better. Let me know. Some humming. That's just me buzzing away. Let me try. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, so I see, hey Jumarinas, how you doing? Hey Augusto, hey Snowflakes, hey Nav, and Dinah, how are you doing? Linley has been here with me all through the morning already, so we've been already chatting. Hey Robbie, how are you doing? Yeah, so, if you guys have been on the live stream through the morning, do put it into the chat. Let me know if it's helpful with your trades, with your, trading through the day. I will only do it if it's helpful for you guys. So let me know if it helps. And then we'll continue. If it doesn't, then we'll end it and not do that. Okay? So, hey Stephen, how are you doing? A quick disclaimer, any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, as your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Okay, so with that, not that, take that away. Okay, done. I hope the sound is a bit better. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. I hope it's a bit better there. Let's see, hang on. All right. If it's bad, we'll figure it out the next time round. Hey, Nungachuku, how are you doing? Okay, so what has happened since the last time we spoke? Not a lot. Not much at all, right? The US dollar, the dollar index, we were talking about this on the 8th of July. It has been sitting between that 104.80 and 105.10.10 level. Right, this was where we were on Monday during our talk, where we were talking about it. It's bounced down, found the bottom at 104.80, bounced back up. This morning, found the top at 105.10, came back down, now still sitting along this support level. Okay, so dollar index, on the dollar index front, it hasn't moved that much at all. right because of a lack of news from yesterday, right? Right after our session, there was only the MPC member who was speaking, didn't do too much. Dollar index set right across. Same thing happened to most of the major currency pairs. Everything just set right across with no major movements through to today. All right, again, not much happening in terms of the news, but tonight at 10 p.m. GMT plus 8, we do have the Fed Chair Powell testifying at the semi-annual monetary policy report before the Senate Banking Committee. Right, with that most likely going to bring about some volatility because the questions will be about what we have here, high rates, right? When they talk about, you know, interest rates being so high, when are you going to cut rates? Are you likely to cut? What's the timeline of cutting rates? What needs to happen before the Fed Reserve will decide to cut rates? That's, I think, the string of, or the line of questioning that's going to come towards Fed Chair Powell, right? And whenever you talk about high rates, he's going to talk about their commitment towards the 2% target, and they would only look to cut rates when they are confident they're hitting that 2% and sustainably at the 2% target level, right? So the questions will come, whatever the questions comes, that's his answer. It's going to signal that, and he's going to say they're on a disinflationary path right now. They're back on the disinflationary path. So it's going to come back down to, is there going to be 1 or 2 rate cuts this year? Dot plot, previous dot plot suggests 1 rate cut this year. If they get to that 2%, along that disinflationary path to that 2% target level, they might come to a 1 or 2, might come to a 2 rate cut decision this year. Might see some dollar weakness coming back into play. Okay, so that's for tonight with Chair Powell. You know the question, you know the line of questions, you know the likely answers that he's going to come out with. Most likely we're going to see some downside onto the dollar, but I don't think it'll be massive. Unless he says something crazy, I don't think it'll be massive. We have Treasury Secretary Yellen, Janet Yellen speaking, testifying at the state of the international financial systems before the House Financial Services Committee in Washington, D.C. Don't think it's going to do too much. I think the camera, the focus will be on Fed Chair Powell at 10 p.m. Okay, so with that, I'm actually anticipating that we might see a bit of a push to the downside on the dollar, especially if it breaks this previous low here. From what he might say about a 1 or 2 rate cut decisions, that this inflationary path that they're on. Okay. Hey Basanta, how are you doing? Now with that, then tomorrow, fingers crossed, hopefully we're going to see more action, more volatility right across the board at 10 a.m. I'm going to click live just before that. At 10 a.m. tomorrow, we have the Kiwis with the RBNZ making the interest rate decision. 5.5% right now. They're most likely going to hold it at 5.5, but we might see a hawkish tone come from the RBNZ. So that's going to bring about some volatility. That is going to give us the opportunity to take advantage of this live streaming and trade together setup that I'm hoping will benefit you guys. Okay? So we'll look out for that as well for the Kiwi dollar. Then, with that, now let's look at the charts. Dollar index is still sitting along this support level, consolidating. I would still maintain this view, right? I forgot to change this. Today's the 9th of July, yes. Right, so take that away and that away. Hey Stefan, how you doing? Dinah's asking if the hold rates Kiwi will go up. Looks like it. That would be the likely scenario, especially if we do see the dollar index trade lower and break this 104.80 level. Okay, so I would still maintain this view that is consolidating along this 105 support level, which is at 61.8 from the longer term upward push. It's just sitting along this area. Watching for 105.10 for upside potential, right? So if it breaks above 105.10, we could see 105.40. If not, then a break of 104.80 for downside. I think that is more likely to the downside. We look for it to break 104.80 to the downside. At the lowest, we have it so far at 104.30. I think 104.40 might be a reasonable target level. Just thinking that, why I have that is I'm just thinking that we might want to just have a low, a bit of a higher low, right? Just to maintain that higher low. I think that it might be at about 104.40. So still not anticipating massive moves yet on the dollar as it sits in that consolidation. So we're looking for either a breakout to the upside or a breakout to the downside, right? Okay, that makes sense. Then we'll look at the Kiwi dollar, right? Again, remember, Kiwi RBNZ news tomorrow. Now, today anticipating some weakness on the dollar index. With the RBNZ interest rates tomorrow looking to hold at 5.5%, might bring about some upside on the Kiwi dollar. Okay, Dinah is looking to go long on Kiwi Swiss franc. We'll have a look at that shortly, and also the pound Swiss franc. We can also look at that. Okay, this morning, if you refer back to the stream, it was on another link. I don't know why it disconnected. If you refer back, as it was pushing down in the morning, I was actually thinking that, hey, if it breaks 38.2, we could be looking at that kind of move to the downside, right? 1:1 to the downside, or we could even go all the way down. But it came down slightly, it set just above that 38.2, and then it bounced, so it's still sitting along this point. This trend line is done. We don't actually need that. This was from yesterday. It didn't trigger. Take that away. We don't actually need that for now. I would say that if the dollar does weaken, right, it's still sitting in that area yet. So I wouldn't say that it's it's not definitely going to weaken. It's still in that consolidation. We're still trying to decide where it's going to go. If the dollar does push down, then we're going to see that test and bounce, and I'll be looking for that move. Right? So we would be looking at about 6120. Stop loss will be very tight, no more than 15. take profit, you can go up to about 35 to the upside. If it breaks above that previous high, then you have that 0.62 level to get up to. But as much as it's an interest rate decision tomorrow, I don't think we're going to see a massive move. We'll look for that one first. Okay, so 6120, 15 to 35 to the upside on the Kiwi. 0.6120, stop loss 15, take profit 35 to the upside. We do have the RB and Z decision tomorrow. Okay, and hey, I forgot to say this, but if you can help me out massively, do remember to click that like and subscribe button. That thumbs up button does help get more people onto the stream. So I was looking at this on the Aussie to the upside. We see this pushing up and then it's sitting in consolidation right across. If it does break above, it's going to push further to the upside. I'll continue with this view, holding it there, right? 6760 is sitting in this consolidation. It needs to break 6760, 6750 to the upside. Then we could see that push up, a continuation up. Okay, Robbie says he's got the same view on the Kiwi. Fantastic. I love it when you guys have the same view. Doesn't mean that we're definitely going to make, that's always going to work out, but it helps to build that confidence with you guys being on the same page in alignment, right? So that's what I'm looking for here on the Aussie. Push to the upside, sitting in consolidation, a continuation to the upside. If it breaks above 6760, I'll maintain that view with anticipation that the dollar index is going to weaken. So buy it up 6760, stop loss 20, take profit 110 with a hesitation at 0.68. We will keep that view. Right, in the first level, you'll be looking at about 40 pips. So you're looking at a 1:2 to the upside. If it breaks above that, then you're looking at a 1:5 to the upside. Maybe. No, I'll keep that. I want to look for that. I want to look for that because, right? So I was at first thinking that it's a push up and then it's going to consolidate and then we could just look for that 40 pips. But if it's a continuation, then we look for it to continue trading up. That makes sense. Okay. Then on to the US yen. And you all, this might be a super short session because we're going to have the same things that we talked about from yesterday. We had this from yesterday where I had this position just below 160.70. All right, we had that to the upside for 60 pips. As it pushed up, I moved that to break even. As it came back down, I closed out my trade at about 30 pips. Right, it came back down, I closed out my trade at 30 pips before it continued pushing lower. This was right before I ended the session yesterday, the live stream yesterday. So it came down, tested the 160.50 level again, pushed back up, got resisted this morning at the 50% retracement level and 161.10. Through the morning, I was looking at this point and I was waiting, thinking, I want to buy it up, waiting and waiting. This was me sitting here at 10, pushed up, I drew that circle, I was looking for that to push up. I think Lindy was on the call as well. It sat there, retraced back down, then I saw this line, and I had this line, I said, okay, if it breaks this line, then that's it, not looking to buy it up. But so far this hour has found the line, it's bounced back up slightly, it's not ready yet. I think that the key feature here for today will be that it needs to break above this 50% level. And since it's going to break above that 50, you want to let it break above that previous swing high at 161.30. So you look to buy 161.40. Stop loss 20, take profit 60. We'll maintain that setup on the US yen. Diana is alignment. She supports the idea, and she says US yen looks more upside on the daily time frame. It does. On the H4, we do see that, right? It came down to that 23.6, bounced off. We're looking for it to break to the upside. So it does show a continuation, possible continuation to the upside. On the daily time frame as well, it does show that while it's sitting there, it has the upside potential. So yes, maintaining that view, holding, looking for 161.40, 20 to 60 to the upside. I'll maintain that. Then on to the pound dollar, which is a little bit more tricky than what we've been talking about on the Kiwi, the Aussie, and the yen, right? A little bit more tricky because what has happened on the pound, it didn't push as high as I thought it would. Right? I was looking for it to push up, test that resistance at 1.2860, push back down, break that trend line, and trade down. But it didn't. It pushed up slightly and it came right back down. And if you look at this right now, I put this down to this point, there is a bit, take all that away, right? There is a bit of that move there, right? So a shoulder, head, and shoulder pattern with a neckline right there. So I'm looking at this as if the dollar doesn't weaken, if it strengthens and pushes up, then you're looking for this to break to the downside. Hey Christina, how are you doing? Finally we caught up. So that's what I'm looking for. If the dollar strengthens instead of weakening, or if the pound dollar weakens quite a bit, then there is that head and shoulder pattern with the neckline right there, and also a nice round number at 1.28. So we'll be looking for it to break below. So 1.2790, give it a bit of space. Stop loss about 20 pips. Take profit, you have your first one down here at 50, and if it continues pushing lower, then you can drag that down again. Okay, so that's what I'm looking out for on the pound dollar. Sell at 1.2790, stop loss 20, take profit 50 to the downside with a head and shoulder pattern. There we go. Good. Super. So that makes sense. We're done with that. On to the euro. Look at the euro. All right, we have the shock in terms of the parliamentary election from the eurozone. That's done. We can take that one away. All right, we have that we don't need. We don't need this trend line. If anything, well, that would be a more valid trend line, but we don't need that. With horizontal levels, okay, there we go. Looking at this, what we should be looking out for. I don't see a big trade on the euro at this time. Okay, I find that it's a bit toppish, it's a bit, okay, we'll look at that as well. It's a bit toppish, we're near the resistance, near that previous swing high from 13th of June. Right, so I am actually looking for a break to the downside if the dollar does strengthen back down towards this point, towards that 61.8 area. So we're looking at that. Right, but I don't see it happening quickly at this point for the euro. It's still sitting in there. I would actually avoid the euro for now, right? I think that we'll get a better bias in terms of direction on the euro on Thursday, especially with the CPI for the US due to be released on Thursday. But then we get the directional bias on the dollar index to pair up with the development of the directional bias for the euro. That would make a lot more sense. So euro at this point, I would say do nothing. Do nothing for now. Only for now. Okay. Then on to the US Swiss franc. Didn't break that low. In fact, it bounced back up from this 50% level, back up, came to about 38.2, sitting right there, possibly, and you see this move back up on the US Swiss franc, right? This move back up on the US Swiss franc while the dollar index, and that started at about 4 p.m. yesterday, while at 4 p.m. the dollar index is, zoom in a bit, at 4 p.m. the dollar index sat there, pushed down before pushing back up. So it only pushed up at about 9, while at the same time, the US Swiss franc was continuing to the upside. So it broke away from that correlation for a little bit, right? But it did push up. What I'm looking out for now on the US Swiss franc would be if it breaks above this 38.2 level, look for it to trade up towards that resistance and then possibly sell down. Okay, I see a question there on the EU. I'll get to that shortly. Consolidate. So either this one will either be a continuation up and then push back down, or it consolidates along this level and then push down on dollar weakness, dragging it lower. If you look at this, we're looking at 8975, stop loss tight, even 10 or 15 would be very generous, and 30 back down. It's within that kind of range I don't really like, so I wouldn't trade it if it consolidates and trade down. I would say that if it comes and it tests and rejects this level, actually what you can do, below 0.9, 8995, 20 pips down to 50. So I wouldn't be looking for that. I look for that to trade up more and then reject. Why I'm going to give that big space is because of that nice round number it doesn't seem like it matters that much actually. So you can actually look at 9005, 20 pip stop, 60 pip take. Okay, test and reject of that 61.8. So I will look to sell at 0.9005, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the downside. So Dinah has a question that the EU MACD on daily time frame getting close. Okay, so Euro dollar daily time frame with that one is getting close. Once it's crossed, do you think it'd be good for sure? Yes. Okay, so it's not ready yet, hasn't crossed over. I do think that, so why I said that, I'll come back to the hourly time frame first. Why I said that it's sit and watch, not ready to do anything, I actually think that there might be a little bit more of an upside to come. So it's sitting in that consolidation, might push up slightly before pushing back down again. What you want to see is that crossover. So this is crossing down, but I think that it might push up again. Right, so we've got one more leg up, maybe test that resistance, and then we could sell it down. Definitely looking to sell the euro down, but I think not at this point, not ready yet. And that's why I said, you know, do nothing for now. Okay. Then onto the US CAD, we were thinking that it was going to come down, test and bounce and push back up. Same like the dollar sitting in that consolidation, the US CAD sitting in that consolidation. No major news for the CAD. Volatility and liquidity going to be driven by the dollar sitting right across. You would be, it's in this wide range. Since May, it's been in this range that it hasn't been able to break out of. Right, and I don't even need that. I want to just look at this points here. And that's my whole support area, which I'm happy with. And that's my round number. So I took that away, and that's my round number level. Thanks for that, Diana. So Diana just said, I'm testing your indicator. Really nice one. Usually I don't use indicators, but I love yours. Thank you so much. Anyone who uses it would love it. It took me a very long time to build that. Robbie knows. Robbie has been using it, the first iteration of it on MT4. We finally got it onto TradingView. He did ask, Robbie did ask whether I could get it onto MT5. I'll try and get that available. He's been using it since day one. It's really kind of accurate, Diana says. So again, remember, if you want to get access to what we're just talking about, that indicator, the TSRI MACD, which is the MACD but faster, gets you in faster, gets you out faster, gets you in earlier than everyone else, gets you out faster at the top before it starts retracing back down, right? So this is the fast MACD. Sorry, I'm just going to digress a little bit. This is a normal MACD. So you can see that when everyone talks about this, I get super excited. So I'm going to digress. This signals to you to sell, to get in earlier, while this tells you to get in at this point. It gets you in a bit earlier than everyone else, right? And when it comes all the way down to this point, it tells you maybe you want to close out a trade because this is a consolidation, so it gets you out earlier as well. It does work very nicely with the Bollinger Bands, which I have also available with those yellow dots to tell you when it's too late to get into a trade. So it's all there. It's all there. Especially if you want the MACD, reach out to me on TradingView or reach out to me, drop me a message on Discord, TradingView, send me an email from my website, ask nicely, and you get a trial. You get a free trial of the MACD. Okay? It's only going to be there for a while. I might end the free trial soon, so if you want it, ask for it as soon as possible. Don't delay. All right, so with that, you guys Robbie and Diana, you get extra marks today. You put a big smile on my face, especially when you like the handiwork we've done here. Okay, I'll send that to you, Diana. You can test it out. Okay, I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, USCAD, yes. Talking about your USCAD, push down, sitting in consolidation. I wouldn't be too keen on it. There are two levels that I'm watching out for on the USCAD. That is if it breaks above 1.3650, right, to show that upside potential. Back up again, or if it breaks below that support of 1.36. I do prefer that move to the downside despite the USCAD having been in that range for a long time, right? This range that we have stretched right across. I am thinking that if the dollar does weaken, it could drag the USCAD down. If it does drag it down, I'm looking for it to break below 1.36. Look to sell it down, say about 1.3580. Stop loss will be tight at about 30 pips. Take profit, we could go down to 110 to the downside, but it is sitting in that area now, and I wouldn't do anything on the USCAD for now. Okay, so USCAD is still ranging. We sit there as well, right? It still is consolidating between 1.36 and 1.3650. Do nothing for now. Okay, there we go. All right, and then I remember I have to do Kiwi Swiss franc and pound Swiss franc. Right after gold, we'll get to that. Gold, we spoke about this yesterday. We said it's going to push. If it breaks above that trend line, it's going to go up, but gold pushed down, and you see gold pushed down. You anticipate that dollar is spiking to the upside while gold pushes down, but we haven't seen that, right? Dollar was just sitting right there, pushing up slightly. Now it's pushing up, right? And then we see gold pushing back down. This morning I was looking at it. If it does break above that point, push up, I don't think these are valid views at this point. What you'll also notice here is that it's got that trend line which is trying to break. We have that ugly head and shoulder pattern. Not exactly, not textbook, but a bit of an ugly head and shoulder pattern. If it does break below this point, we could see it trade down. So I would say gold below 2350 could trade down to maybe even 2320. I don't like to go counter on gold, but it looks like that's the scenario, which, if that happens, could mean dollar strength, but it's breaking a bit from that correlation. So might be a move away from reserve on gold. Okay, so I'm looking at gold, thinking that it could break below 23.50, could trade down to 23.20. But Santa said a symmetrical triangle in there. I think you were referring to either the Swiss franc or I see that, or the CAD, more likely the CAD. I wouldn't say so much as a triangle. I would say that if anything, that's what we're seeing there. Right? And that's why I'm thinking it might push up, but might not be very strong. Okay. Then on to the Kiwi, I don't have it, Kiwi Swiss franc. Hang on. Kiwi Swiss franc. Hey, we hit 100 messages today on Restream chat. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so Kiwi Swiss franc. Put that into the list first. How do I put it? Yeah. Okay, I've done this, so we look at this. As that pushes up, holding, that trend line holding prices. I don't need, okay, wait, let's clear out everything first. I see that holding prices up. Pound yen, euro yen, yeah, we can do that. I don't look at everything. I do. Now let's look at that. Okay, that's my resistance. That's holding there. So we're thinking that if the Kiwi does push up, especially if they have a news tomorrow, or with the news tomorrow, it pushes up, US Swiss franc might sit there and weaken or gain a bit of strength back down. So the Kiwi Swiss franc, driven only if we see Kiwi strength, then break above that resistance. You have a 61.8 here, and then you have the next major level up here, and interim level down here as well. Alright, so what you would be looking for on the Kiwi Swiss will be break of the resistance at 0.5515. You can look to go long, 5520, stop loss tight, no more than 10 to 15. Take profit, you have 20, you have 50 to the upside. Maybe 40 to start. There, and then you can look to continue riding that to the upside. Okay. Then on to the pound Swiss franc, sitting in that consolidation. Spoke about this on Friday, I think. Sitting in that consolidation. I think that that's still holding. That's finding a lot of tops, anticipating that pound in head and shoulder. That actually looks really nice right now. That actually looks really nice right now. To the downside, I'm super keen on this pound now. Then looking for that to break down. I think that you still wouldn't do too much at this point. Thank you, Basanta. It's consolidating. It is. It's a very interesting head and shoulder that we see on the pound dollar. So pound dollar head and shoulder plays out, dragging the pound down. Can also look at a pound Swiss franc, but it does need to break below this support level. Then you look to sell it down. 1.1435 out there. Below that support, stop loss about 30 pips. Take profit. You would go down to about this point here, which could be big. I don't think it'd be that big. I think maybe even this point then. So you're looking at about 70, 80 pips to the downside. So that's what I'll be looking out for. Feels a bit toppish at this point. Looking for it to break to the downside towards 1.1355. Okay. And then the late entries from Robbie on the pound yen didn't push to the upside, held that 206.50 level, coming back down. I wouldn't, as much as we think that the pound is going to trade down, I think that it's not worth at this point trying to counter on the pound yen. Right, especially if you try this out, you'll see that the pound yen is pushing down, right? Crossover for some downside, but very quickly it could reverse back up. So what might be a better idea on the pound yen would be to look for buying opportunities at these levels, right? You're looking to see if price is going to come down and test and bounce back up again, especially if the yen continues pushing up and then the pound drop and then push back up. Together with the euro, yen, I don't need that, don't need those. Didn't break higher. You can see it's all feeling a bit toppish right now. That's in that consolidation. Remember, euro dollar, we're not looking to do too much. It is pushing down slightly, but we're not looking to do too much on that. Where's my euro yen? So euro yen sitting in that area, you possibly will be looking at whether it's going to come down and then bounce back up, but in that area. I'm still looking for a big push back down, but I don't think it's ready yet. Okay, but I think that the main thing that we've discovered for today on this session is that we're looking at the pound dollar head and shoulder pattern to the downside. I'm looking out for that. I'm looking out for that. So with all that said, this stream will continue. I'll just put a little bit of an outro that will continue onto monitoring the charts. I will be there on the chats available to type away. If you have any questions or any trade setups to share, put it into the chat as well. I hope you enjoyed the session. Do remember to click that like and subscribe button. I'll see you on Discord on the live stream, or see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Take care now.